What is up, everybody? Back with another top 10 here today, and this one's going to be my 10 favorite albums from 1978. Once again, continuing on with this series, trying to get every single year done since 1975. Got a good chunk of them so far, so just going to keep going through this. And yes, I did get a haircut, had to get it cut for a job interview, went well, and I will actually be able to grow it back out. I just wanted to have it like clean cut for the interview. But whatever, we're going to jump straight into this here with my number 10, which is going to be from the band Legs Diamond. The album is called Firepower, and usually I've got this one up on the wall. I've got a lot of questions about it in the past. I think the album cover looks cool, which this does look cool. Got a gun there on the front, the nice font. But Legs Diamond is a really cool, pretty underrated band. The first three albums are all fantastic there from 77 and 78. But looking at this stuff, it's good, classic hard rock. I've seen some people say that they're like the American version of Deep Purple. Nice keyboard work, and the guitar work is great. The vocals, very nice and melodic. Looking at some of these songs, I'd go with probably More Than Meets the Eye, Midnight Lady, and probably Chicago is my three favorites. But a lot of really cool stuff here. If you want some good, underrated 70s hard rock, go check out the first three Legs Diamond albums, and this one is my number 10 from 1978. Next up, at number 9, I'm going to go with Obsession by UFO. Don't have a copy of this one, unfortunately, but Michael Schenker, fantastic guitar player. This was their last album with him for a while. The last studio album, of course, Strangers in the Night, came out the year after this, but Schenker left the band for a while after this. Love Phil Moggs' vocals, another guy with a nice, smooth, melodic voice. Pete Way on bass. Really cool lineup. Looking at these songs, I'd probably go with Pack It Up and Go. Is one of my favorites on the album. Hot and Ready, probably my favorite. And looking at this, I'd probably go with One More for the Rodeo, another favorite. But really good album. Most of that 70s UFO stuff is great. But number 8, I'm going to go with Powerage by AC/DC. Fantastic stuff. Again, most of the 70s stuff from AC/DC. Really great. I'd probably go with Kicked in the Teeth as easily my favorite song on this album. One of their all-time best, super underrated song. Could say it's a deep cut, but really hard-hitting, heavy one. Love Malcolm and Angus's guitar playing. Bon Scott on vocals is great as usual. And, Riff Raff, another great song on this album, but most of it is really solid. Number 7, I'm going to go with the album Struck Down by Yesterday and Today. So, known as Y&T a little bit after this. Their first two albums, they were going by Yesterday and Today. Then they shortened it down for their third album and onward. But at this point, known as Yesterday and Today, of course, Dave Meniketti is a fantastic frontman, great guitar player, great singer. Kind of reminds me slightly of, I'd say, David Coverdale, that style voice, but really good stuff. Looking at some of these songs, the title track is amazing. Pleasure in My Heart, Nasty Sadie, Dreams of Egypt, I'm Lost, has just an amazing guitar solo. Really, if you listen through all these songs, most of them have just a freaking scorching, awesome guitar solo. So if you want some fantastic guitar work, go check this album out if you don't know it. Struck Down by Yesterday and Today. That's my number 7 of 78. And number 6, I'm going to go with another one that is really cool and underrated. It's going to be by the band Heavy Load, Full Speed at High Level. So this one is a Swedish heavy metal album, maybe the first Swedish heavy metal album of all time. So like, what was before this in Sweden that was heavy metal? I don't know. Maybe nothing. I've seen people say this is the first Swedish heavy metal album. Really great stuff. Kind of influenced, I'd say, by Judas Priest. Has kind of a similar tone. Just really great. The guitar tone is amazing, but some of it sounds kind of similar to some Megadeth stuff, like the opening riff to the title track, Full Speed at High Level, sounds kind of similar to some stuff off of, I'd say, Countdown to Extinction, maybe like High Speed Dirt or Skin of My Teeth, that kind of style, but really great stuff on this. There's two brothers in the band. Their names, hard to pronounce. I wrote them down. We got the freaking Wahlquist brothers. I'm not even going to try to pronounce their first names, but really great musicians on the drums, vocals, guitar, keyboards between these two guys. And I'd probably go with, Midnight Crawlers, a really dark and heavy one. Storm, Rock and Roll Freak, some of the other standouts on this album, but really cool stuff. Each of, they've got 3 full-length studio albums, I believe. All fantastic. Death or Glory from 1982 was my number 3 album of 82. So really love these guys. Go check them out if you don't know them. And my number 5, so the next 5 are going to be the heavy hitters, the big names, but we got Judas Priest at number 5 with Killing Machine. I've got their, it's the Hellbent for Leather version. I'm just going to look at it for the track listing because other than the Green Menalishi, which they changed the name to Hellbent for Leather for the US release because of some stupid crap. They thought it was, people thought it was offensive or something to call it Killing Machine. So in America, it was known as Hellbent for Leather, but the original version came out in 1978, was called Killing Machine. So looking at some of these songs, a lot of their great classic, amazing stuff is on here, Delivering the Goods, one of their best songs of all time. The title track, Killing Machine, is amazing, which they added back to the set maybe the last time I saw them, which it was really cool to see live. They hadn't played it in freaking forever. But Hellbent for Leather is another fantastic song. Rock Forever, a lot of good stuff on here. But Running Wild, so that is my number 5, of course. Amazing guitar work. Best vocals of all time in metal for me, Rob Halford. So can't go wrong with that album. And my number 4 is going to be Ted Nugent, Weekend Warriors. So Ted did take the number 1 spot for me, 75, 76, and 77. I did mention at the end of my 77 video that some other albums might overtake Ted this year, and they did. I still really do love this album. That is some of my favorite cover art of all time. Got Ted there with the hybrid machine gun guitar. Looks super cool. But I love the color, that blue in the background. He's got his overalls he was wearing there in like 78-ish, or some live footage of him wearing that stuff. But they did make a vocal change. The main vocalist, Charlie Hunn, is on this album. Derek St. Holmes was on the previous 3. They had Meatloaf. Ted had Meatloaf on Free For All in 76. But Charlie Hunn does most of the lead vocals on here. He's a great singer. Need You Bad is one of my favorites on here. Smokescreen is one of his best riffs of all time, Ted. And just an amazing guitar solo in that song. But, you know, a lot of good stuff on here. Venom Soup is fantastic. But really good album. Great, gritty, raw, hard rock from the 70s. 78, obviously. But, yeah, really good stuff there. And my number 3 and 2 are very tough for me because each of these top 3 are amazing. And the last couple have been amazing as well. But for now, I think my number 3 is going to have to be Long Live Rock and Roll by Rainbow. This is my favorite Rainbow album. Got a cool cassette tape of it right there. Love Richie Blackmore's playing, Ronnie James Dio. Amazing. Really, the whole lineup on here is freaking amazing. Cozy Powell on the drums. Just looking at this cassette. Super cool stuff. But some of my favorite tracks on it, really all of it for the most part. The title track is amazing. Lady of the Lake is super cool. Gates of Babylon, you know, proto power metal, whatever you want to call it. Power metal, progressive metal. It's all these different labels. Nice early song there. It's fantastic. Kill the King, super amazing. The Shed is really awesome. Really love most of this stuff, except I'm not really a big fan of Rainbow Eyes. I know it's a nice ballad there that some people like, but I don't really love that one that much. But other than that, huge fan of the rest of this stuff. Really good hard rocking stuff. So that is my number 3. Number 2, I'm going to go with Stained Class. So Judas Priest with 2 albums on the list. Very deserving. Fantastic stuff right here. This is my favorite album of theirs from the 70s for sure. Exciter to Open It Up is just freaking a proto speed metal song. You can call it speed metal, whatever you want to say. It's great, fast, amazing stuff. Other favorites, Saints in Hell, Hero's End, and Beyond the Realms of Death probably. And that is probably my second favorite Glenn Tipton guitar solo of all time, just behind the Painkiller guitar solo. But super awesome stuff there. As I said, you know, the guitar duo is great of Glenn and KK. Love Rob's voice. Just super awesome stuff. And before I get to my number 1, got a couple honorable mentions I'm going to run through. Sinister Soldiers by the band Sorcery is super underrated, cool stuff. Kind of like a classic 70s Sabbath feel to that. Nice classic doom metal. Ace Frehley's, you know, solo album there from 78 is the best of the Kiss solo albums, I'd say. Molly Hatchet's self-titled debut, which I've got up on the wall and got a CD copy of it. Really cool stuff. Molly Hatchet has always had some of the best album artwork as well. Just super badass stuff. And what else I got here for honorable mentions? Never Say Die by Sabbath. And I think that's all I got for honorable mentions. I'm sure there's more. But my number 1, it's got to be freaking Van Halen. First Van Halen album, self-titled debut. Got Roth there on the back jumping. Got all the guys there. Eddie Van Halen, top 5 guitar player of all time. No doubt. Some of the best. Maybe I'd say the best guitar tone of all time. But Alex on the drums is fantastic. Michael Anthony on bass and backing vocals is great. And of course, one of the best frontmen of all time, David Lee Roth. But looking at these songs, Everybody knows these, you know, they're all over the radio, but some of my favorites I would go with are On Fire, I'm the One, which previously I've said is my favorite Van Halen song, just freaking scorching fast guitar work from Eddie. Love that opening riff, just amazing stuff. And probably Ain't Talking About Love, just that's another one that has an amazing riff, but all this stuff. The cover of You Really Got Me and the cover of Ice Cream Man are both fantastic. Atomic Punk is amazing. Little Dreamer, I think, is a really cool, underrated song. But top to bottom, this is possibly the best debut album of all time and just one of the greatest hard rock albums ever. So that is my number one of 1978. Absolutely fantastic. Van Halen 1. And that does wrap up the list. As usual, I would like to know what y'all thought. I want to see your top 10 albums of 1978 in the comments. And until next time, thank you for watching.